Yeah, we are live. We are live, baby. Welcome, everybody, to the Academy Sports Show. Y'all hear that sound? Let it breathe a little bit. Let it breathe a little bit. Welcome to the Academy Sports Show live on YouTube, on Facebook. Man, we appreciate everybody joining us tonight, man. We coming on the air live. Y'all gotta hear it. I know you hear it in the background. So we're just gonna let it breathe, man. I know the fans coming in. Deuces, Dad. Let's show some love. That's right, man. Welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the Academy Sports Show tonight, man. Deuces, Dad 11. I'm glad you was the first man to join me. I'm glad you was the first man to say something. That's right. Go blue. Hail to the victors. Man, welcome to the show, everybody, tonight. Hey, man, listen up, y'all. I'm solo dolo tonight, riding by myself, man. So if you're joining us live on Facebook, you're joining us live on YouTube, man, I appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you let me know you're here. Make sure you let me know you're in the building, man. I'm working everything tonight, working the back, the board, working, getting everybody's comments up. But shout it out, man. Let me know you're in the building. Appreciate you joining us tonight. Also, make sure you share. Make sure you let somebody know, man. We on live right now. Let's talk about it. Show us some love. Hit the thumbs up on Facebook. Hit the heart. Do what you got to do. Most of all, if you're on YouTube, make sure you trigger that bell so that way you know when we go on live. We're on live every Monday night, right around the 7 o'clock hour. And again, man, welcome to the show to everybody. Appreciate y'all. I see it's about 6 people in here. So make sure you say hello. Let me know you're in the building, man. I would really appreciate it. A lot ahead tonight, man. Like I said, I'm riding solo dolo tonight on my own. So I'm going to need all the help I can get from the listeners. Need all the comments. And don't forget, anytime you want to jump in, you want to have something to say, you want to get your face on camera, you want to share your piece, man, just let me know. I'll shoot you a link. You can click that link. Be right here with me, rocking with me, talking about the wonderful weekend that was the sports world. A lot to get into tonight. First and foremost, as you know, Rivals rivalry weekend in college football. A lot to cover. A lot to cover. I mean, we rep it. I mean, what can I say? We're going to talk about it, though. Michigan. Michigan knocks off the Ohio State University. Michigan knocks them off. Man, unbelievable. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it tonight. I got you, Ralph. I got you. We're going to get into it tonight, man. We're going to talk about the game, recap the game. And I got an answer to some things. You're going to hold me accountable. Last week, it was said, what did I think? What did I think was going to happen? Well, I told y'all what I thought. I told y'all I felt like what could happen was that there would be a situation where Michigan wasn't going to come out on top. I mean, that's where it was. But I'm going to give you my 2 cents. I'm going to tell you why. And I'm still going to share with you how happy I am that they did. It's just the bottom line, man. Come on now. You got to be kidding me. You don't think I was going to come on the show tonight and not celebrate this victory. I'm not eating crow for that. But we'll get into it. Plus, Alabama. Phil Ariella in the building. Man, I know we've been hurt so long, Phil. That's the thing. Phil's in the building, man. Former cymbal player, man. We rock together in the Michigan marching band. So it's a pleasure to see you, man. Glad to see you doing well. Produced by PD in the building. What it do? Hey, man, listen. We're going to get into that game. Also, Alabama, Auburn, Iron Bowl. Alabama escapes. Wow. They was able to get out. That's crazy. I watched into that game. 10-0 most of the game. Alabama finds a way to win in double overtime. All right, so Alabama escapes. So what does that do for the CFP? Cincinnati won. Georgia won. What does it do for the CFP? We know Ohio State falls. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, other big games, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma State knocks Oklahoma out of the opportunity to be able to play for the Big 12 championship. A lot of people had possibly an Oklahoma team sliding in. Now a lot of people are talking about an Oklahoma State team possibly sliding into the CFP. And in other college football news, you have Lincoln Riley getting on TV and answering the question emphatically, I will not be the next coach of LSU. And the next day, breaking news, he's the next coach of USC. So we'll talk about that. A little impact. Also, we got to switch gears, man, get into the NFL top 5. You know how we do. We always talking top 5, And as always, we got to get into it because more teams lost, man. Some teams are sliding and some teams are hanging. So we'll reveal our top 5. Let you know how we feel. I got Dre's top 5, man. Even though he's not in the building tonight, I got Dre's top 5. Deuces Dad, you should have an email in your Gmail box, man. You click on that link. I'll see you come into the background. We'll talk about it. We can get into it. So we got a whole bunch going on tonight. Again, appreciate everybody joining us. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Make sure you follow on Facebook. Talk to me, man. We're going to get into it tonight. Let's ring that bell. Hey, let's go, man. Big weekend in college football. All right. Let's start here. Let's start Alabama and Auburn. So, yeah, I knew what you were going to think. Let's go get right into the Michigan game. Let's start Alabama Auburn first. Number 2 team in the land, Iron Bowl against Auburn, unranked. Auburn takes them down to the wire. Alabama, I think, in my opinion, they escaped. This is the year. 2 teams in college football. This is the year that there's 2 teams that have been virtually invincible. This is the year. If you want to knock them off, this is your chance. That's Alabama, and that's Ohio State. This is the year. If you wanted to knock one of these teams off, this is your chance. Auburn had their chance. Running back, run out of bounds. Late in the game, instead of staying in bounds, could have burned another 20 to 30 seconds. He doesn't run out of bounds. He runs out of bounds. They conserve their timeout. They get the ball back, 1 timeout, and they're able to go down the field and score and tie the game, eventually winning it in overtime. Is Alabama a CFP team? Talk to me. Is Alabama a CFP team? Y'all got to let me know. What you think? Ranked number 2 right now. I think they should fall because of what Michigan did. We'll talk about that in a second. Phil says Georgia is going to drop Alabama like a Monday morning stats class. I used to hate that Monday morning stats class. Alabama goes down to Georgia. Are they a CFP? Is this Alabama team vulnerable, or did Auburn just wake up a monster? Did Auburn just wake up? Did they just poke the bear? I'm just wondering. Did they just poke the bear? Did Alabama just finally go, okay, we got to do this? Because they've been in close games all year. They've gotten dubs. But did they just all of a sudden wake up the bear? They poked the bear. Or is Georgia going to knock them off next week? Petey said the facts, the power schools don't have all the stones for their mini gauntlets. All right, Sean, what's up, man? If they stay within the touchdown of Georgia, they can knock them off. Okay. We'll give our predictions at the end of the show. But I just think it's interesting. Alabama definitely always gets the pass, right? They always get their Alabama. So they tend to hang around the longest in the top 4. But the question becomes, are they really a top 4 team this year? Do you think they're going to knock off Georgia next week? Did the bear just get poked? Is Alabama going to show up? Or is this Georgia's chance to really put the stamp on the season where everybody has favored Georgia the entire season? Everybody said Georgia's best team in the land, best defense, best everything. Everybody's favored them. Are they going to knock off Alabama this week? While you think about that, see what you guys have to say. I'm going to get ready to see. This is what we're talking about here on the Academy Sports Show. If you've got something to say, if you want to share a thought, we welcome you to join us. Some people have courage, some people don't. Well, today, some people have courage. We're going to bring in Deuce's Dad 11. We affectionately know him on the show as Deuce's Dad 11, but personally, we know him as Ralph. As you guys are telling me what you think about Alabama, let's shift gears, man. I ain't going to be with you all night. Me and Dre don't have a lot to say tonight because Dre ain't here. So I'm riding solo. I'm just going to hit right to it. The Michigan Wolverines knocked off, upset, a lot of people would say, upset the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm going to bring Ralph onto the show. Before I do, let me see what you got to say. Petey says Bama did just get a confidence boost and a good in-game practice of coming back in a big moment, which they usually never do. Okay? All right. Phil says Auburn exposed Alabama's frontline weakness. Georgia has arguably the best D-line, and unless quarterback Young grows wings, he's going to get lit up. Yeah, Alabama's offensive line questionable. Quarterback Young, right? So interesting. Perry says, Phil says, let's go blue, baby. That's all I love. Let's go blue. That's a young Buckeyes team. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Here comes the excuses from Buckeye Nation. That's a young Buckeyes team. Sure is. They got it handed to them like they was young, too. Let me bring Deuce's Dad 11 into the building. Deuce's Dad, what's up, Ralph? What's going on?
What's going on?
Man, just feeling good on a Monday after, good big win.
Look here. I know Saturday you didn't want to, get too ahead of yourself. Had to bring you back. But from what I was seeing in the trenches, man, it was just no way that they was going to win that game. There was no way the Buckeyes were going to win at all.
But Ralph, did that surprise you?
It did. I'm so used to being beat down, that I couldn't. It took a minute. It took until halftime for me to say, you know what? They can't hang with us.
Right.
And
you said it at halftime, Ralph?
Yeah.
And excuse us, y'all. That's not Dre on air, as you can see under the insignia. That's just our background. But we got Deuce's Dad 11 in the building. Halftime, you felt like they can't hang.
Yeah.
It was 14-11, Ralph.
I know. And you know what? And when they came out of halftime and stopped them, they made them go 3 and out and then came down and scored. I was like, they can't do it. They can't do it. But you know what was the best thing that ever happened? The best thing that ever happened was last week, Donovan Edwards showing out. Because that first drive, they did that fake pass to him.
Yes.
That was all set up by last week because they knew Ohio State was watching.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Man.
Ralph, I'm sorry, man. I wish I had that much confidence, sir. Now, and you just said it. For all those out there that don't understand why I picked Ohio State last week to win this game, I said this is going to be a close game. I said in the end, I just felt like the Ohio State offense was going to rule the day and win this game late 31-24. That was my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people agreed. But a lot of that was because, one, think about what they did the week before to a Michigan State team.
True.
Who does have the worst pass defense in the nation, but that's a good football team in East Lansing.
It is.
They demolished that team.
That did scare me. I ain't gonna lie. That scared the best out of me. I was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do?
Listen, sir, and we have not won a game against Ohio State in a long time. So I'm being accused of reverse psychology here. It wasn't reverse psychology.
It wasn't reverse psychology, man. Like I said, we just been beat down so much and so long. It was just hard to see.
Dude, fandom sometimes has to be put aside, and you have to just be analytical and look at the game and say, right. This is a different team. Yes, it feels different. Yes, but at the end of the day, I thought it'd be close and they would win. Ralph, right. I wasn't satisfied until the clock hit 0.
Same here, because I remember that dog on the first Michigan State game with the muff punt. I mean, that's why ever since that, I'm like, I'm not celebrating until it's 0-0-0 on the clock. But this one, man, I was like, you know what? We are overpowering these boys. They got the 3 best receivers I done seen in college in a long time on the same team, and they still can't get do nothing on us for real. Our defense is there. They're tackling these boys. All their plays were like amazing catches. You know, these are what routine catches. You got reaching his hand around my man back to grab a catch and everything. I was like, you know what? These boys is different. And when I knew we had a chance because of Ajabo and Hutchinson, man, because they could actually get pressure.
Yes.
And I knew that was the only way we was gonna be able to hang is to get pressure, because I don't know if they haven't seen that type of pressure all year.
Yes, I agree. So coming into this game, this is what I said last week's show. Go back and play the tape, people. Especially my boy from Cleveland, who's just riding me about the fact that I picked OSU. But I said this. I said it online. I said the only way we can win this game is you have to be able to run the football, and you have to be able to rush the passer.
Right. And Haskins just scored again.
Right. Wait, Haskins just scored again. That's the only way to do it. And they did both, and they did it well. You run for over 200 yards. You rush the passer. You get 4 sacks, 3 from Hutchinson, 1 from Ajabo, but constant pressure all day long. Anytime this guy had to move from one spot to another, is a bad throw.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing over the top. Played everything in front. Tackled well, defended well, and a lot of their great plays were superstar plays. Exactly. And think about this, people. The wide receivers, they had over 100 yards.
They sure did.
The quarterback threw for 397. You might as well say each wide receiver had a honey.
Right.
And they still could not do anything with this team. Michigan manhandled the Ohio State Buckeyes yesterday. And
it was beautiful, man. I haven't seen that beautiful of a game in a long time.
Felt good.
One mistake, and that was an interception. If we had a score then, oh my God.
Now I felt better about 14-0 at that time, but I'm sorry. I felt like I was watching Cavs Warriors 2016, bro. It was just like after watching that offense last week and knowing it was like I used to say about the Cavs. You got to make shots. You got to rebound. You got to defend. You got to slow the game down.
Mm-hmm.
You took the air out the ball. I was just waiting like, no, they go explode at any point. They go explode at any point. And it just never happened.
Yeah.
It feels good. I'm sorry, y'all. This is what y'all knew we was going to open the show like this. You knew this was going to happen. Let's see what the people are saying. Armin, another Michigan marching band alum. Let's go blue. You got it. All right, so here come these Buckeye fans. Let's see what y'all got to say, man. Tell me what you think. Blowing out Purdue and MSU set us up for the loss. We forgot we had to go get it. You can't forget you got to go get it in this game.
They live for it. We live for this game.
Yeah, this is it.
This is it.
The effort level of the Wolverines was a lot higher. They got all blocks, ran in the football. Buckeyes couldn't shed blocks, save their lives. All effort. Okay. All right. Respect to the OSU fans. Perry said, listen, it was khaki pants time. He did what he was supposed to do. Now y'all got to play Iowa snooze. My question now is, what can Michigan do in the CFP? Did they just play in their Super Bowl? So let's segue to that, Ralph. I'm going to keep you on here a little bit longer. You got some time?
Yeah, I'm good.
Anybody else want to jump in this conversation? Perry, that's a great question. I'll shoot you the link, man. I'd love to hear your thoughts too. You could jump in here with us. So that's the question, right? So you win this big game. You're on this emotional high. Now here we go. You got a week leading up to the Big Ten championship. All you're going to hear about all week is you're a 10-point favorite, and you've never been there before. All you got to do is win this one game. Thank God this isn't Kinnick Stadium at night, right?
Facts.
It's neutral field, right? So that's a good thing. So at the end of the day, tell me how you feel leading up to this, because you were confident at halftime. And do you see this team getting into the CFP and making some noise?
I actually do. If they play like they did Saturday, there's nobody that wants to be on the field with them.
Nobody? Are you saying in the country, or are you talking about the Big Ten?
Well, okay. There's nobody in the country outside of Georgia. If they play like they did Saturday, that wants to be on the same field with them. As far as the way both lines were, as far as the trenches go, to me, that was the best I've seen in a long time. Both sides of the ball.
Perry said, excuse me, nobody?
Georgia.
Besides Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay. So
because this ain't the same Alabama. Alabama ain't Alabama. And Cincinnati, come on now. Come on now.
All right. So are you worried? Phil says he's worried about this Iowa game. Too easy to look past it. Are you worried?
I'm worried about the Iowa game. I was worried, but it's neutral field. It's like you said, it's not Kinnick Stadium at night because funny things happen at Kinnick Stadium at night. I can't stand that place.
All the time.
But it's neutral. It's neutral field. I like them. I like the odds better. Even though Iowa, man, they always give us fits, man.
Yep, they give us fits. I don't like 10-point favorite.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't like 10-point favorite. I think that's disrespectful. However, Perry, check your Yahoo. Unless you got a different address. If you got a different address, shoot me a text. I send it to the address. I just send it to your Yahoo. I like Michigan in this game. I'm a lot more actually more confident in this game than I was going into the OSU game. However, I still feel like Georgia and Bama are two teams that can still rock with us.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Bama. I'm rooting for Georgia this weekend.
Yeah, same here.
I'm rooting for Georgia. I want Bama out.
Facts.
I'm being realistic with you. I don't want a 2-3 matchup with Bama.
Right.
Perry just said it. Bama's defense is not giving up 297 yards of rushing. No. I don't think that's happening. I don't want Bama. I want Bama out. Mm-hmm. My dream scenario is Georgia knocks off Bama. They fall. Michigan this week, number 2 going into it, wins. Cincinnati moves up because of the Bama loss. You get Cincinnati in the semifinals, and you get Georgia or whoever in the finals.
Right. That's the dream scenario.
That's my dream scenario.
That is it.
I don't want Bama, sir. I don't want Bama. I don't want Bama, and of course I don't want Georgia first round. Semifinals. I don't want.
I'm with you. I'm with you on the Cincinnati.
I'll take Cincinnati.
Right. And then whatever happens in it, if we make it to the championship, whatever happens.
Exactly. Listen, we've been here for so long that I'm going to be very happy just to get there.
Thank you. Yeah.
I am. I'll be very happy just to get there. However, we still gonna root hard and we're gonna go hard at it. But my dream scenario is that in the way it plays out. I like the mindset that you have with, having, people wanting to see them. I think Bama and Georgia are still different than everybody.
I can accept that. No problem.
So do we have a legitimate shot? Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. And take your fandom out of it, Ralph.
Okay.
Can Michigan win a national championship?
I'm going to go 6.
Okay, you took your fandom out of it. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. You get a positive bell for that one. Positive. Good job. Very good job. I'm gonna go a 7 on the backs of it playing out the way I hope it plays out.
Okay.
All right, so let's hear from the fans. Let's see. All right, Perry said I'll still take Bama over Michigan. Perry, whenever you're ready, come on. You come say your piece.
Hey, you can bring Perry on, man. I got to get back to editing.
All right, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you joining us.
No problem, man.
All right, bro. All right. Hey, man, thanks to Deuce's Dad 11 for joining the show, man. Hey, y'all saw it? Send it. I'll send you the link. Come say your piece, man. Perry, a hard 4. A hard 4. Okay? I hear you. A hard 4. Let's see. He'll take Michigan over Bama. Phil said, always give us fish for sure. He's agreeing with the Iowa situation coming up this weekend. Bama's defense is not giving up 297 yards. Will said, I'll take Michigan minus 13 over Iowa. I want Georgia to win. Also, Phil said, but Michigan's D-line is also elite. That was Bama's weakness. So that's the thing you got to think about, right? Is defense, running game. They talk about that in the NFL. Those are the two things that travel. Defense, running game. Gets cold, gets late in the year. Teams are tired. Everybody's banged up. Two things that carry you. Defense, running game. Michigan's got both. Michigan has both. Can it carry them to a national championship? Now, I want to temper everybody because we do coming into this, we have to, after all this excitement, settle down and play Iowa next week. You got to win these games. You got to do it. So now it's newfound territory. Did we just overexert ourselves emotionally? The fear of coming out flat next week and not being able to stand up to an Iowa team that you actually are better than. If you've seen Iowa play, you should believe that this spread's probably correct. Their offense is anemic, but you got to be realistic. These games got to get played. I see Perry in the background. We're going to bring him in a second. Let's see what the rest of the folks had to say. Will said if Michigan gets in the CFP, all is forgiven with Harbaugh. Hey, man, listen. All is forgiven with Harbaugh already, bro. I'm forgiving right now. All right, Sean, this is UM's first Big Ten title game appearance. Man, you just really just keep pointing out the things that are stating the obvious. Just congratulations, man. Just give us that. It is. First time, man. Buckeyes been ruling it. Michigan State's got their taste. Man, Wisconsin has gotten it. I mean, everybody done got their taste, and we finally made it. You're right. We finally back. Perry says, give them a hard 4 on a scale of 1 to 10. Can they actually win a national championship? And all games will be in pleasant weather going forward. That's a good point, too. Neutral field, that helps because Kinnick Stadium is going to be ridiculous at night. Perry said, all is forgiven for khakis. Drastic improvements. Absolutely. All right, let's bring this man in. Y'all know him. He's our resident Denver Broncos fan, Notre Dame fan, San Antonio Spurs fan. He's all over the map. But he ain't never shied away from sharing his opinion. It's our guy. What's up, brother?
You see it? That's just coming in. You see this? You see that?
Look at this ridiculous.
I wear this proudly up in the state of Ohio. Don't care at all.
So y'all already know right now from the looks of this, man, we do not have no Buckeye favorite here. No. He gonna say his piece. He gonna give you the truth. All right, what say you, man, about this game, bro?
Well, honestly speaking, we and I text back and forth, and as I looked at it, one of my closest friends kept saying, and I told you, Chuck said at the beginning of the year, like he said, game like 2 or 3. He kept texting us like, man, Michigan look different, and we like, man, whatever. They don't look different. He's like, I'm watching them. They look different. This is not the same team. So like leading up to the game, I'm just like, they were winning those games that maybe a couple of years ago, that they would lose or something like that. Yep. So leading up to the game, I said, I had watched, I forgot where I watched Michigan, but I looked at them 2 ends. And I text you, I said, Joey, the way that y'all going to beat them is that those ends put pressure on Stroud, because Stroud is like the Statue of Liberty.
Yep.
That guy will not run for the life. And here's the thing, when you get a kid like Justin Fields, that's an extension of your running game. That opens up the playbook even more when you have a guy that can take off like Justin Fields could. So when I look at Stroud, he reminds me of a smaller version of Dwayne Haskins. He wants to stay in the pocket and make throws. And he's not, to me, comfortable when you put pressure on him. So as I look at Michigan, I'm like, man, if they put pressure with them 2 elite ends, and if Michigan runs the ball, you know what I mean, they have a shot. Now, I was like you. I said it's going to be close. I said this would be a close game, but I didn't foresee Michigan running for no 297 yards.
No way.
Like, y'all know what they're going to do.
Right.
They're going to run the ball. And here's the one thing. Ohio State defense had improved, but they had issues all year long. That's not an excuse. That's why I kept saying this is the year. That defense had issues from the defensive coordinator getting his duties being stripped from him. There's not one elite linebacker. Actually, the best linebacker, Still Chambers, was moved over from running back. So you could tell, like, man, that that there's some issues. There's no elite pass rusher. Tyreek Smith from up here, Cleveland Heights, the Harrison kid. Nobody is getting to the quarterback like when you had Chase Young, the Bosa brothers, and different things like that. There's nobody. Right. If you go back to even Hubbard some years back, the one to play for the Bengals right now, you had nobody that was your game planning for. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, like they have a shot this year. I done had it as a football fan and a person that knows a little bit about football. I'm like, I just was so looking at the dominance of Ohio State's offense. I thought the same thing as you did. And I'm like, I think the offense will make enough plays to win a close game. But I didn't foresee this coming. And as you stated, or kind of said, they were dominated. That was a dominant, like that. Even though they dominated them in that game. You know what I mean? It was a very dominant game, and I'm going to say they were also. And I know some people just state this, they were out coached in this game.
Yeah, what surprised me?
They listen. I seen an article one of my buddies sent me, and it said how it highlighted the coaches that may need to go from Ohio State. It definitely said the defensive coordinator Combs, the one that was calling the play, the one they pulled down the call the plays. And it even went as far as to mention Larry Johnson, which I don't agree with.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? Like this was that type of article. So he's going to have to do some revamping because you knew they were going to run the ball, and it was like they couldn't do it. Michigan said we're going to run the ball. There was nothing that they could do about it. You know what I mean? So I think you have to give credit to his coaching staff because they said he made some changes. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I heard he got a very young coaching staff in Michigan or something like that.
So nobody on that coaching staff is over the age of 40 besides him. See, this man went out and got a brand new coaching staff. His D coordinator is 32.
Yeah, is that the one who was with his brother in Baltimore?
Mike McDonald, who used to be a linebackers coach for the Ravens.
Okay,
you're talking about revamping the program with young energy, young coaching. Went out and got guys like Mike Hart to come in and coach the running back, snatched him out of Indiana when he was definitely on his way to becoming something great as a coach. Went out and got guys that understand the program and then injected that youth into the program. And people hate on Harbaugh because, the big name, he's the savior, and they kept losing these big games, But one thing you cannot deny is over these entire 5, 6, 7 years, he has made changes every time to try to get this team to be better.
Right.
He went out and changed this system and went and plucked a guy out of Alabama. Then you go out and get a Don Brown because you want to get aggressive. And then they hang 60 on you. So you have no fear. You fire Don Brown. You let people walk. You let go of the Pep Hamiltons of the world and reinvigorate with some youth. But then you go back. If you recognize this team, this is Stanford 8, 9 years.
Oh yeah.
This is Stanford. This Andrew Luck Stanford.
Yeah.
This Kaepernick 49ers offense.
Yeah, definitely.
You know where the quarterback is not. They're not relying on the quarterback.
No, they don't. But here's the thing about him though. What I was shocked at, that he has shown that if he needs to throw the ball, Cade has shown that he can do that. You're not like You're not looking like I can make throws, and they have good guys on the outside. They exposed. Not exposed because Denzel Burke is a young and up corner, but that was his worst game.
Number 29.
That was he's a freshman. He's going to be very good. That was his worst game. You know what I mean? So I just think that you give him credit where it's due. And a lot of people said this is, if you're going to do it this year. My thing is, the question is, you've been it's prosperity now.
Yes.
How can you have? I'm not a fan, so I don't care. But I'm not worried about Iowa because I've watched Iowa's offense and it's so bad.
It's bad.
That I think Michigan, even not at a level, like anything can happen on any given Saturday. But I'm like looking at Iowa. All Michigan has to do is, to me, give a resemblance of themselves and score 15 points because the offense is that bad. Right. My thing is, I'm looking at them as a CFP contender, and as your Deuce's dad said, he said against anybody but Georgia. My thing about Alabama is that you got the Saban effect and being able to prepare for Michigan. I watched that Auburn game. Now, one thing I did see, the defense played pretty good in that game. Now, Auburn was without Bo Nix, understandably. He wasn't there. But I'm not ready. Now, do I think Michigan can beat Cincinnati? Yes. I would pick Michigan over Cincinnati any day, or any other person that can sneak into the CFP. I have Michigan at number 2. I have Bama at 3. I think that could, but I don't foresee that happening because I think that Bama will not, even though I think Bama is in my mind, a top 4 team, I don't see Bama I just don't see them beating Georgia, and I don't see them being allowed in the CFP. So I think Michigan has a shot to be in that national title game. I think Michigan handles Iowa like I think they can. I think you have, and personally, and Georgia wins. I think you go Michigan, Georgia 1, Michigan 2. Cincinnati, they went out, put them 3, and then you're probably. I don't want to see my team in. I'm just going to say that now.
You don't?
No, they're a year away to me. I think they're a year away.
They're playing good football.
They're playing good, but I think they're. I'm being honest. I think they're a year away. Will I be happy? Yes, but I think you're going to see an Oklahoma State team beat Baylor, and you're going to see an Oklahoma State leapfrog because they've already leapfrogged Notre Dame in some other rankings, and I think you'll see Georgia play Oklahoma State and beat them, and I think it'll be a fantastic Bama versus Michigan, Michigan versus Cincinnati, and I think it'll be a good game, but I don't think Cincinnati would not. Michigan to me is a better team right now than Notre Dame, so I think that to beat the number 2 team in the country, so I think that Michigan would beat Cincinnati, and I think you could get a Georgia versus Michigan national title game, which I think will be a good game. I just think that Georgia's defense would really, I believe, force. They don't have to blitz.
Right.
That's your key. They don't have to blitz Cade. They can play coverage, and Georgia plays a lot of zone. If you watch them, they play a lot of zone anyway. So I think, and I believe we're on a collision course to a Michigan Georgia CFP if things go out the way that I see them.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I like the way that plays out. I think that if that's where we end up, because I agree that the Iowa, although I want to try to be as skeptical as I can about Iowa, the reality of it is their offense is horrible.
It's terrible.
It's horrible. And they don't have any playmakers. And so it's like they barely even understand who's playing quarterback right now. So
have you seen him have you seen him? Petrus or something is his name.
Petrus, yeah. It's bad. So and they sneaking in with the Wisconsin blew it against Minnesota.
And I told you, I said you even said we don't want to play the Badgers again.
Didn't want to play the Badgers again. No. Because
that's that beating the team twice, and they play. Iowa plays good D, but I just was that weary like you were of being able to play that team twice, and they have been playing some really good ball. I'm not saying I thought Iowa. I'm not saying I would have if you would have. I would still pick Michigan over Wisconsin because their offense is run, a couple of dinks like Wisconsin football.
Yeah, Wisconsin football.
Yeah, but I think that I really think Khakis will have them ready this Saturday. Like I said, and I think they will beat them. But I think to even give the committee something to think about to beat Iowa, to really shut them down, and I think that they'll be playing Cincinnati in that CFP. I really do.
Now, what if let's throw these scenarios out there because the next time we talk, it'll be after the selection show and everything. So let's talk scenarios. What if Michigan handles Iowa as expected? Even in matter of fact, the spread is I think 10 and a half. They beat them, 12, 14 points or whatever. Then what if Alabama beats Georgia?
Okay.
So you have Alabama beating Georgia. So going into this, we're on the same page in regards to CFP rankings. I think tomorrow night when the rankings come out, we talked about this over text. We're looking at a Georgia 1. The way that Michigan dominated O State.
You got to put them at 2.
You got to put them at 2 because of Alabama struggling with Auburn. And while Cincinnati is a great story, nobody believes that DC, what's up? AP, what's up? Nobody believes that Cincinnati is really ready to hang with any of these teams in the top. So you're looking at really tomorrow night, you should be seeing Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Cincinnati, because you're not going to drop Alabama down to 4 just because of that struggle.
No, you won't.
So those are your 4. So you're looking at next week, Cincinnati's got an American Conference game. They should win. Michigan should beat Iowa. You're talking Georgia, Alabama. If Alabama beats Georgia, is it Alabama 1, Michigan State 2? Or does Michigan become 1, Alabama slide up, and you still got your Oklahoma State sliding in at 4?
That's a fantastic question, because if Georgia and Bama play a tight game, let's think this. Look at how dominant Georgia has been all year long.
Right.
We know the first game they shut out Clemson. It was the first game, but they've been pretty dominant probably 90% of the season.
Right.
So here's my conflict. How did they lose a close one? Do you take the head-to-head and put Bama over them? It would be hard for me to drop Georgia out than 2.
Ooh, really?
It would be hard for me to drop them from going 12-0, losing a close game to the number 3 team in the country. I know they say take the head-to-head. I would struggle dropping them below 2, personally. I would struggle dropping Georgia below to 2.
So you would have the Michigan State effect, where they put Michigan ahead of Michigan State.
Yes, I would.
Because you still would say your argument is Georgia's the better team?
Yeah, because I thought Michigan should have beat Michigan State.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like I never once I looked at that game and I'm like, oh, they blew this game. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying I would struggle in a good Bama Georgia classic game, talking 3 years ago, national tour to Devontae Smith type game. Yep. I would struggle to drop them at 2. I just would struggle with that. Okay. Because of the body of work. That's my perspective. Like, how could I'm gonna let Bama go I couldn't. First of all, I would probably push Michigan to 1. I probably would push Michigan to 1. I would have Georgia at 2. But then people would say, well, you're not rewarding Alabama. They haven't looked like they've been pretty, they haven't had, that would be their best game of the year, Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's a tough scenario, man. And I would be very interested, but I would not drop Georgia to 3 or 4. I'm not doing it after going 12-0 and dominating like that. And you had a close game and hold on, we're talking about Alabama. They're elite still. People tend to forget they lost a lot of talent, but they're still 5-star guys everywhere on that roster. So is it bad to lose to a Nick Saban-led Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback and not a horrible, it's still pretty decent defense? I don't think that's horrible to me personally.
So, okay. So I think that's interesting, because the head-to-head, just the value of that head-to-head to me is always the trickiest part.
Yeah,
I felt the same way about the Michigan State setup. I understood it 100% because Michigan's up with 13 minutes to go in that game, and everybody on the Michigan State side of the field thought that game was over.
Yeah.
So Michigan should have won that game. Should have, could have, would have, they did. Georgia, Bama, I think Michigan has to be 1 in that scenario. That would be tough. Either way, I think there's an argument for both. My last question on that scenario is, what happens to Cincinnati if you have a team like Oklahoma State go into the Big 12 and blow a Baylor out? Does Cincinnati fall and does Oklahoma State jump in? Because Alabama, the nightmare scenario here is Alabama knocking Georgia off.
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
Because if Georgia does what they're supposed to do and be who they've been, then everything else takes care of itself, assuming Michigan, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma State went out.
Here's my take. I really believe that Cincinnati with the win is in. I believe that. Do I believe that Oklahoma? I think if you asking me today, I think Cincinnati and Oklahoma State are probably, if you ask me, about the same. Here's my thing. Their defenses are both pretty dominant. One is playing some better competition, yes. But I believe that I hold Cincinnati and Oklahoma State about like this, Joe.
Yep.
That it ain't like this. To me, it's like, you understand what I'm saying? Yep. Also, Cincinnati has a better, to me, their quarter. I like Spencer Sanders, but I think Desmond Ridder is a better quarterback. than him. You know what I mean? So I hold them too. So if you ask me, at this point right now, if Cincinnati wins out, I putting them at 4. I'm putting them at whatever. I'm putting them in. I'm putting them over Oklahoma State. That's just me. Because Baylor has 2 losses.
Okay.
Now I know it's Baylor, but I think it's time. And me, I'm being ridiculous. I just think let the group of 5 in, and then if they get killed, we know people
I said the same thing.
People stop crying after today. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's the whole point. Let them in.
Yep. But so this creates again the last point of this nightmare scenario, because if Bama beats Georgia, the CFP's got a problem. They do not like and it's been like this since the beginning. They do not like rematches. And essentially what you could have is you could have a number 3 Alabama beat a number 1 Georgia in a close game. Because I don't think this is a blowout.
No.
I think it's a close game. So you could potentially have a number 1 Alabama fall to 2 or 3. And a number 1 Georgia fall to 2 or 3, and Alabama move up a slot because Michigan should be number 1 if they handle their business in a scenario like this. And you have a semifinal matchup again of Alabama and Georgia.
But let me ask you this. The year that Bama beat Georgia, did they play? And they played in that was a championship game, right?
SEC championship game.
And the championship game too.
Yes.
Okay. So So to that fact, maybe the CFP don't. Maybe we can have that as maybe the CFP doesn't make that the first game. Like that's why I said I would struggle personally. I know the head to head is murky. It's murky. It's just I get it. I struggle with it, but I'm not penalizing Georgia for losing to a close. Not that much. I just can't. I don't know if I could do it. Yes, you should. If Michigan takes care of business, you probably have Michigan probably has the best win of the year.
Right.
Who better win is that against the number 2 team in the country who just scored 56
just
points.
Scored 59 points on Michigan State the week before.
Tell me the better win. That's the best win in the country. So you beat Iowa, you reward them going up to 1. Now, if you say you putting Bama, if you're going, Michigan 1, Bama 2, and Georgia 3, and then Cincinnati 4. I know what you're saying. That's another rematch.
Yep.
They have a problem then, because you're right. Or do they think like me? Hey, we're just gonna put them to 2. We watch Bama we watch Bama the whole season. We know they're good, but I do it. They in like, hey, keep them at 3. But then people are like, well, they beat them. They should move. So that is just a chaotic scenario. Yep. Because you're not putting Cincinnati ahead of Georgia in no circumstance. You're not putting Cincinnati in front of even if it's an undefeated Cincinnati in front of a 1-loss Georgia team. That's not happening.
No, Cincinnati's going to live at 3 or 4 in these final rankings.
That's it.
It all depends on what happens in this one game between Georgia and Alabama.
So that's it. So, but I'm going to say that's a nightmare scenario. But you still have your 4 teams should be solidified if that happens. You just talking about where you're putting them.
Where you're putting them. Yep.
But I think Cincinnati winning in. I don't think they're winning in. I think the committee at this time like, man, listen, they win they in.
Oh, Darshawn said, that is true. So they did not play each other in the SEC title game that year. UGA beat Auburn for the SEC title, and then Auburn was eliminated from the CFP as a 2-loss.
Okay.
And I think Alabama got in.
Okay, gotcha. That's how Alabama got into this CFP. Got it. So Alabama must have had the 1 loss that year.
So here's my final question on our CFP topic, talking about college football, man. Appreciate everybody joining us tonight. We got people in the live feed. Y'all been rocking with me solo dolo tonight, man. Y'all pray for Dre and the fam, bro. He out handling, and we tell you we gotta be dads, husbands, do what we do, grown men sometimes. So we got people in, everybody making their comments. The question I put out there, scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you if everything plays out? Michigan can win a national championship. All right. Deuce's dad says 6. I go 7 because of the scenario. And I feel like defense and running the football travel. And I don't think that Georgia's offense This is if this plays out like this, and we're talking Georgia, Michigan in a national championship game, while that defense is elite, like elite with a capital E and the LITE, I don't see Georgia's offense as being superior to like an Ohio State offense. And so if McDonald can scheme it right, could you possibly have one of these just boxing matches of just body blow after body blow where the defenses are just dominating this football game? And you could possibly, I mean, it almost seems like Michigan needs that dirty game to be able to beat this Georgia team. Or am I being crazy to say K McNamara threw for almost 400 against Michigan State. Bad pass defense. I probably doesn't do that against a Georgia, but can they make enough plays to possibly knock that team off?
You know what? I don't know. Here's my thing with that. Here's the thing. Here's what I want to say first. Anything can happen.
Right.
Like it's football. You know, they got guys. Michigan got guys, Georgia got guys. So I want to put out there, it's not far-fetched because Georgia has been dominant. Here's my thing about Georgia. I don't even think the best quarterback playing.
True.
Stetson Bennett to me is not even better than the Daniels kid, in my opinion. I think the Daniels kid pushes their offense to a whole nother level, in my opinion. So Georgia's they run, they pass, they're run oriented. They got about three. They got Delvin Cook's little brother that play.
Mm-hmm.
McIntosh is, I think Zamir White is his name or something like that. So they want to run the ball themselves. And Stetson can run the ball. He's a dual threat quarter, and he can kind of run it a little bit. But their offense is not even close to Ohio State's offense. I mean, Ohio State's offense, that you're talking three world class wide receivers, because then Jackson and Jenga Smith will play he'll have his next year he's a sophomore, I think, this year. I think he'll be back for one more year. And then you got Olave and Wilson, who's a projected first round. So you have 3 projected first round picks. So that's like Alabama-ish with Devontae Smith and Waddle and all those guys and Henry Ruggs. So Georgia doesn't have that type of offense. What I see with Georgia is that offense has to get going.
Mm-hmm.
And they will make some plays now. I love the tight end Bowers. I love that kid. That kid is pretty good. But Michigan's defense is good enough to slow them down. Like, that's not a mismatch. Like, if Michigan and Styles make fights, you know what I'm saying? You know that. So as I looked at Georgia's offense and I looked at Michigan's defense can play with them. You know what I mean? But it's just like this. Kenneth Walker ran all over them.
Right.
But Travion Henderson didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, it's the way that – because how many touchdowns did Kenneth Walker score against y'all? 5 or 4?
Yep. Yeah, 5.
And then do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it depends. And then you got to think of the preparation. How many weeks in advance? You have time.
You get months.
You're talking Nick Saban. You're talking Kirby Smart. And you got Jim. So you got these guys who are in the lab. Forget the holiday season. This all football. This is not a week-to-week preparation. If you coach anything, it's different from preparing week to week. No, you have an entire. You have this. This is the last week of the season coming up.
Yeah, you got a whole month.
What, whole month?
Whole month.
Hey, man. Who has their guys locked in, loaded and ready to go?
Yep.
That's why anything can happen. And I'm not. Michigan has a shot. They have a shot. I would never say they don't have a shot. Would I pick them? No. Do they have a shot? Definitely.
Well, you got some comments. Let's see. So Pringle says he give a 9.
Wow.
You got to take your fandom out of this. A 9. Really think we're poised to do it all. After dominating OSU, we have the tools to do it. The scariest opponent will be Bama in the championship due to the stature of Saban. Facts.
Saban
9 is high.
9 is high.
9 is high.
I love the confidence.
Yeah. It feels, but this does, as a fan, this feels like one of those dream scenarios. The season feels it's got that energy to it because you've been listening all year. Oh, they can't do this, they can't do it, and they just keep on. And then when you lose to Michigan State and you get that feeling, and then you're like, wait a minute, goals are still in front of you, and then stuff starts to happen, stuff starts to fall the way you need it to, and then you come out and do this against Ohio State. It makes you feel like they're in line for something special. I just feel like that 9 is high. That 9 is high. DC 6.57, but if they keep winning and find a way to crack the defense, anything is possible. It would be a dogfight, low-scoring game like a 17-14 if they were to play Georgia. Got you. Phil, if they handle business to get to the top of the mountain, Michigan wins 13-10 over Georgia. Sir, my fellow bandmate, you want to make sure you follow the show. Stay with us every week. We're going to hold you accountable to that. All right, you may have to answer for that.
I love that. I ain't mad at him, though.
You may have to answer. Will said, I think Georgia's like OSU, which they have not come up against a defensive line like Michigan. Now, that defensive line seems to be able to wreak havoc.
But here's the thing. I get that, but I think I'm going to say this. It's one thing. I get that, but I've watched Georgia probably 5 or 6 times this year. And the manner in which, like I've seen some teams, like I think Tennessee started well, and the manner in which they shut you down, like it be looking like it was some teams, like we got it, and then it's like, no, no, it's done good. So great defense can affect an entire game. Michigan's defense is good, but I don't think it is elite. I think you have 2 elite ends, but I'm talking about, like, I just think that a great elite defense can change everything. I would love to see Cade go against that elite. To go against it is something totally different. To go against it, So that's an interesting statement. I just don't know if Michigan could make enough. If you say, well, both defenses are stout, who's going to make the plays? As much as I think Daniels is better than Stetson Bennett, I probably would trust Stetson Bennett against Michigan more than I would trust Cade against Georgia's defense. That's I'm picking a little bit, but that's what my call would be.
That's fair. All right. DC says Michigan has used the clock as their friend. Keep the Georgia defense on the field to wear them out. Listen, I tell you right now, if you keeping them on the field, that means you're running the football. That would bode well 100% for Michigan in that situation. Yeah. For all the facts that I named, he said 7 is low. Darshawn echoes of 2014. You're Ohio State fan tonight, Mr. Johnson. Well. I don't even know what your comments are now referring to. Yes, that is still AP. And defense wins games 100%. Well,
if defense wins games, then who's going to win? I mean,
who's going to win that game, right?
If we're saying defense wins games, the theme of the 2021 college football season has been the defense of that team down in Athens.
The Georgia defense.
That's been the theme. If we talk about defense wins games, so we're going to use that theme. We know what our eyes have seen this year.
Right.
I think teams are averaging 8. I don't even know if it's 10 points against them.
I don't even think it's 10 points a game.
So, I mean, so like I said, anything can happen. But if we say defense wins championship, we might as well crown them now.
Oh man, Michigan overcoming early setback to continuously prove the doubters wrong. All right, there you go, showing us some love finally from the Ohio State front. Well, so we're gonna put a bow on it with the CFP, man. College football rivalry weekend was what it was. It was huge this year because you had that shakeup at the top. You almost had Alabama out before it even mattered. It wouldn't even matter if they had lost to Auburn. They wouldn't even be able to get back in because you would have had a 2-loss Alabama. They would have been able to get back. So that almost happened. It didn't happen. So next week, it is all set. You got Michigan and Iowa, 7 o'clock Saturday night. You got 3:30 p.m. Alabama and Georgia. That should probably be the best game of the day.
It better be.
It really should. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. That Georgia defense is elite, But the Nick Saban assistant coach curse is alive and well, sir.
Didn't he? That ended this weird.
No, but it ain't ended for Kirby.
No, I'm saying, didn't Jimbo beat him?
Yeah, Jimbo beat him. But Kirby still hasn't beaten him.
Here's the thing.
Kirby
Alabama still has weapons. A key note. Their best receiver has to sit out. Is it still the same as sitting out a half? I don't know if it's still the same thing. When you get kicked out, for targeting. You get put out. Is it the same? I gotta find out.
Get sit out a half.
Okay. I didn't know if it was still the same, if they took that out anymore.
That's a good question. Because
he got put out of the Auburn game.
And Michi went nuts.
Here's the thing. That's gonna be a fantastic game because both teams are 5 stars.
Yep, they should be.
So we'll see, but that's the game I'm looking forward to, and I mean that's the one I'm really going to make sure I'm watching. Of course, I'm probably watching all of the games, but that's the game that I think, as you stated, Joe, is the game that everybody's like, hey, this is going to kind of let us know where we're going.
All right, so let's switch gears, man. You hanging with me for NFL? Or you
I got you, man. If you need me, I'm here with you. I got my guy, Big Dre. In the name of Dre, I don't mind at all.
Hey, man, so appreciate y'all joining us, man. We're going to switch gears, switch over to the NFL. Monday Night Football is about to begin. Got the Washington football team playing against the Seattle Seahawks. And, man, that's just an ugly game. So we're not going to discuss that.
Terrible.
But this weekend was interesting.
Yes.
You had, I'll start with my hometown team. Yeah, man, listen, if Baker Mayfield could do what Cade McNamara could do in college and just show you that he could win a game or two, this would be a different season. Williams said targeting second half does cause you to sit out first half of the next game. All right.
Oh, so if that's the case, then Jameis, their best receiver, is out.
Out for the first half.
Yeah, for the first half. I think the dude, that's the one to transfer from Ohio State.
Yeah, it could be over. It could be over by then.
Okay.
So the Browns lose to the Ravens. Their defense shows up. Lamar Jackson throws 3 picks, 3 drives, and 4 picks total.
3 in the first, 1 in the second.
1 in the second. They did everything they could. They hold this team. They hold them. And these dudes get the ball with a chance to go down and win it. They could go down and win it. 17-16. Go score a touchdown, Baker. And once again, 4 incomplete passes. Baker Mayfield, I'm done. First of all, have a seat, sir. Everybody's tough in the NFL. I heard Keyshawn say this. Everybody's tough. You've already proven that you're tough. We appreciate it. But I'm blaming you and Coach Kevin Stefanski because you're not standing up and sitting your quarterback down who has ailment after ailment. At this point, we put the backup in. We can't go wrong here. What are we doing? I'm done with Baker. I'm done, bro. Even if they turn this thing around, I'm sorry.
Have you seen their schedule?
To mess it up.
Have you seen their schedule?
Yes, it's ridiculous.
Okay. I'm not a Browns fan. When they left, I left the first time. So I'm sorry, people dog me all the time. And, you don't like no. I left. I accept whatever you want to call me.
You are a Broncos fan.
Here's my thing. And I don't. First of all, I can't stand local talk radio. I just don't listen to it. I don't
listen to it. Look here.
I like entertainment, so I listen. Here's the thing. If we're being honest, there were some drop passes. There were yesterday. There were some drops. So I'm going to be fair to him. But I was listening to Shannon, and Shannon said, "Hey, if that guy was drafted in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round, you know what I mean? Maybe we're. But when you're drafted number 1." When you're number 1, guys, let's be fair. This is concrete. He was a number 1 quarterback. Wasn't he a Heisman Trophy winner also?
Yes.
So you get all those things. Now I was going back and forth from one of my family members. I said, man, some of this is on him. Here's why I stated. He's a number 1 pick in the draft. Yep. He's a Heisman Trophy candidate. Now, some people they have bias toward him. One thing, he brings a lot of attention to himself.
Yes.
He did it at Oklahoma.
Yes.
That's no disrespect. Hey, man, I love the guy. He's a walk-on, made and went all the way up into a Heisman Trophy candidate. I respect the grind of that. But if we're going on concrete facts, can we all, and whether you're a fan or you coached football before or you look at the game from a coaching perspective, can we just state this? Hey, we picked him one. He's not going to win you games like Aaron Rodgers did without his top 3 receivers against the Arizona Cardinals. But that's okay.
That's okay.
How about you set it? So you have to set him up for success. Lamar Jackson ran the ball for it said 13 carries. I was told by a friend, I don't know if anybody can check my statistics, that between Kareem Hunt and Chubb, they said it was about 15 carries. I believe if somebody could check my statistics between those two, they barely have more carries than Lamar Jackson combined.
So, yeah. So Kareem Hunt 7 carries for 20 yards. Nick Chubb 8 carries for 16 yards.
And Lamar
Jackson 17 carries for 68 yards.
My point is this. Think about Tennessee when they had Derrick Henry. Tennessee basically was like, hey, man, I don't care if you stack the box. We're going to win and we're going to lose or win, giving the ball to Derrick Henry, hoping he pops one.
Yep.
That's what the theme of Tennessee was, because that's just what they used to do and what they did when he was not hurting. So, yes, you want to be strategic and say, man, they crowding the box, so we're going to beat them through the air. The receivers dropped a few passes, and maybe you have Jarvis Landry, you have some decent tight ends, and maybe you don't have that. But in our lifetime, whoever's watching, we have seen that guy who can take a team and throw to Joe Blow off the street.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady.
I'm not saying, and let me say this, I'm not saying Mac Jones is elite right now. I think he's pretty good.
But they put him in a position to be successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So can we just accept, hey, man, the guy cannot carry the franchise. It's okay. We're gonna run the ball, play action, and they overcoach, just like that play with Jarvis that's over
dropping the ball. You're overcoaching. Yep.
My friend, I have my friend Charles, excellent coach. He said, man, why do the Browns overcoach?
Every game, he does at least once every game.
Why? Hey, man, guess what you can do? We're going to hand this ball up. Or Jack Conklin is hurt again. He stays injured. Okay. Hand the ball off. Yep. Guys, it's not a debate. Can we talk concrete facts? What has he done this year?
Right.
When they beat the Bengals, that's a good job. But when the time came for him to make plays, I'm not saying that people didn't make mistakes. We're talking about results.
No, results. This is a results-oriented football.
It's not.
League.
They're 6-6.
Yep.
Is it just him? No. But when you're the number one pick, I'm sorry. The criticism coming when you're the number one and you have 9 million progressive commercials.
Everybody always hating on this commercials. I say
I'm not mad at him, but this is a society that people are going to listen. I have nothing. I don't know the man. You don't know the man. All we know is the results of what we see on TV, and that's fair.
So, all right, that's our Brown segment. I just had to always get that out because that's what it is. I just wanted to make it state, and Dre would be happy to hear this. Because I sent him a message last night. I'm done with Baker. I'm done. He's not a franchise quarterback. He's not going to take this team to the promised land. But I do blame Stefanski as well, because to your point, the overcoaching takes place. They call up a couple plays every game. You're like, why did you do that then? Keep doing that. I was watching anybody saw this game, this will be a prime example of what the Browns didn't do. The Tampa Bay Bucks and the Indianapolis Colts game. That game was on first on CBS.
That was a good game.
That was a great game.
I watched that.
And here's the thing about that game. And they kept saying it on the broadcast. Hey, Indianapolis, when are you going to decide to get that man the ball?
Terrible.
Just start handing the ball to 28. And as soon as they decide to start giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor, that whole game changed. All of a sudden, they was in the flow again. Stop. Listen, Carson Wentz is your guy, but he's not here to win you. Give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. And that's all they started doing. They said, okay, no problem, Bucks. You got the number one run defense in the league, number 2 run defense in the league. What's Devin White and them boys? No problem. Handoff. Play action, bomb, touchdown. Handoff. Play action, tight end in the seam, touchdown. Handoff. But once again, you gave that man Tom Brady too much time at the end. He goes down and wins a football game for you. But they handed the ball off and put the ball in the best player's hands. The Colts have found themselves in a position now where they're resurgent. They're coming back again. You know, every year the AFC South comes down to the last weekend, Titans versus Colts. The winner's going to get the division and the loser's going to get the freaking wild card. Happens all the time. But they ran the ball.
The Colts, they dropped a few games. I think they're 6-6 right now, I believe. But they dropped some games. They shouldn't have lost to Baltimore that time. Yep. And I thought yesterday they were kind of in control. Yeah. I think they had a lot of turnovers.
Should have won that game yesterday.
Yeah, so here's the key. Tennessee's struggling right now. They just struggling. So the Colts are only 2 games behind them. So if the Colts can get on a run, to me, that's a dangerous. To me, I watched them even before yesterday. I'm like, man, they can run the ball. The defense, not that, the defense pretty decent. So they can I think they can sneak in, because of the struggles of Tennessee right now.
Right.
So that's you're right. I was like, why won't he scored 5 touchdowns last week.
Yeah. He made somebody very happy in fantasy last week.
Fournette made me happy yesterday.
Me as well, sir.
Fournette.
Me as
Fournette.
Me as well. Fournette is going to get me put up to the 2 seed, I think, this week. Him and A-Rod. All right, let's talk top 5. As you know, every week on the show, we do our top 5. I'm going to put you on the spot this week. I'm going to put the standings up for you so that way you can see where we are and where everything is, give you a chance to just look. Let me get those standings back up here. All right, so every week, me and Dre, we go on record stating our top 5 teams in the league. We get criticized. We have some things, but there was a declaration last week, and he's not here to stand up for himself, but I'm still going to call him out on it because when he sent me his top 5 today, I wanted to make sure he held true to what he stated. So last week he declared, because this brother last week had the Rams still in his top 5. And he said if they lose, they are all the way out. He was a man of his word. He knocked them out. So I'm going to reveal our top 5. And I'm going to go 5-1. I'm going to give you a chance to kind of prepare yourself. And we'll see if we come out in the same spot. Now, here's the thing. Dre and I actually have the same top 5 this week. It's funny because we on the same page this week for once because of the losses that took place. So here's the AFC right now. The Ravens are the 1 seed. Patriots are the 2. Tennessee is the 3. Kansas City, look out. They're the 4. And if the playoffs were to start today, Cincinnati, Buffalo, and the Chargers would be in. Go over here to the NFC. Cardinals at the 1, and that's only because of the bye. You might as well say Packers are at the 1 because the Packers have the head-to-head over them. Tampa Bay's right there at 8-3. Cowboys on the skid. Rams on the skid. 3 in a row. 49ers.
Watch out for that team.
Watch out for the 49ers. And you got the Vikings coming in. So if you go 4, 5, 6, and 7, you got the Vikings will be bringing up that last wild card spot. And then you got some 5 and 6s and some 5 and 7s that are going to be fighting to see if they can sneak in, hoping somebody collapses up top. So Dre and I have the same top 5. So if you're listening, DC said you did a great job holding it down, bro.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, if you're listening, man, put your top 5 in the chat. We're talking NFL top 5. Put your top 5 teams right now. There's no serious criteria centered around it. It's 100% all about what we say and how we justify it. But at number 5 for both of us, the number 5th ranked team we have right now is the Tampa Bay Bucks. What just happened?
Oh my gosh, I'm about to lead a set.
Breaking news. Stop. Don't
Do
move.
you see it?
I want to get your. Where is it at? It's got to be on here somewhere.
It's on ES. I got it off the Bleacher Report. Oh my gosh.
Stop. Okay, hold up. Just don't say it. This. We love this moment. This is the moment we. Does it have to do with your Notre Dame Fighting Irish, sir? Oh, I heard it. I heard the possibility of it today on the way home, and I'm so sorry. I heard it. I said, no, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't do that. Let me pull it up. BleacherReport.com. Man, you getting it off of that update right away type stuff. Let me go. I gotta find it. Oh, I'm so sorry. Because you said they were only a year away.
Not no more.
They were only a year away.
Oh my gosh, man.
I'm looking for it. I gotta Google it. It's nowhere to be found.
I have it on my. I ain't gonna say. I'm letting you the man. You and Dre's show. I'm shutting up.
Oh, here we go. No. All right, I'm gonna have to just say it. I can't find it anywhere. It's gonna be up on somebody's page in a minute. But this has to be breaking news. Perry's upset. He came on with his hat on. He said they're a year away. You seen it here. I have a feeling the word just dropped. Let me guess. Chip Kelly to LSU.
Brian Kelly.
Sorry.
To LSU.
To LSU.
He said he would not leave that job. He was like, you remember what Mike Tomlin said? You know, when they asked Tomlin about USC? That's what he stated. Wow.
Sir.
I'm sorry for changing. I'm sorry. That's
it's so fresh that it's nowhere to be found. But I'm gonna add it right. It's right here. On Twitter. LSU is hiring Notre Dame's Brian Kelly as its next head coach. Sources confirmed as Sports Illustrated Now and Pete Thamel reported. It's fresh. It's fresh in you right now, Perry. This is how I ended up on this show with Dre. I was just frequent on the show all the time, and I ended up there because of moments like this. Say your piece, bro.
First of all, I understand that people lie all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Lincoln Riley said, I'm not the next coach at LSU.
Right, and he's at USC. You know what? Like, here's what I'm most like. I loved what he did with the program. He's the all-time winningest coach in Notre Dame history. This is their 5th 10-plus win season. They've been in I think two CFPs and a BCS national championship game. Having big good in the big one.
Yeah.
And he maybe to him, other than winning national, he might think I cannot win the national championship I need and get it. First of all, people really got to understand this. And they already do. It is they care about academics at Notre Dame.
They do. So he can only get a certain level of talent.
They care. Rocket, this ain't the Rocket. Jerome Bettis, Reggie Brooks, Michael Stonebreaker, Tony Rice. That's not this. So I have to believe that you are like you own this place, so to speak. So I don't going to LSU. I know that's a big budget, but is it like you going to the SEC? Joe, it blindsided me. I didn't see it coming because you took this program to another level. You have major dudes in the NFL. The dude, one of the linebacker for the Browns from Notre Dame, balling.
JOK, yeah,
balling. He's
their equalizer to Lamar Jackson.
Exactly. So Joey, I'm shocked because I'm like, because he stated like like Mike Tomlin, Mike Tomlin basically said, man, y'all better go somewhere with that USC job, and he said basically gonna give me 200 something million, a lot of money, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna break the bank. But you're still at Notre Dame. You have all your games on NBC. You basically are in your own island. So you're telling me you're leaving there to go play Saban and Kirby Smart every year?
Every year.
You're betting on yourself, no problem. I don't know. So you're telling me, and because that's a gauntlet of that's totally different.
It's ridiculous. But to his point, not even to defend him, because I don't really hear you being upset with him. I think there's a level of understanding here, because if you want to get to the top, he's got to go somewhere like this.
Yeah.
Because Notre Dame they were a year away, but I still if you play that out, they're a year away, and next year this Notre Dame team a year away is more developed than they've gotten this. They bring their recruiting class in and they do all these things and they make it to the CFP. All you're going to hear about is they still can't play with the big boys.
And I agree. I still look at Georgia players and I look at Bama players and I still think we look a tad slower.
Yeah. So you're still going to run into the same issue. So at some point, right, he has to decide, if I want to be amongst the greats of coaches, I got to go somewhere and try to knock off the greats. Because Notre Dame, you're playing in the ACC every year.
Yeah.
Y'all had y'all chance to get into the Big Ten, but you're Notre Dame. So you wanted to still be Notre Dame. Okay, that's fine. And then you love being able to play that schedule that you play. And there were some things about you that you rode as traditionalists that kept you from entering into that world on an even playing field from a conference standpoint.
Right.
So now he's got to go to the SEC, where soon to be teams like even Oklahoma's coming. There's teams from the Big 12 coming to this dang on conference. And they got to go, and he's got to go play Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, and all them other boys.
And I'm going to say Jimbo Fisher. You got Lane Kiffin, who's not no slouch.
But he can recruit.
Yeah, he's
and now he doesn't have to recruit with academic restrictions.
No, the level of getting kids into.
Woo!
You know how hard it is to get into Notre Dame.
So it could be interesting.
Hold on. Who the heck they gonna get?
Well, LSU is still a breeding ground. Louisiana's still a breeding ground.
I'm saying who the heck Notre Dame gonna get to come in? That's not an easy job.
Hey man, I don't know. We're gonna have you back to ask you. Who do you want?
Who do you think you about to get? Who you really think? He's the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. He revamped his staff some years ago after they went 4-8, and they whipped off 5 straight 10-win-plus seasons. Who are you getting? Who will come in and I'll take that job and follow that? Got to remember, years ago, Urban Meyer turned that job down before he went to Florida. Yep. He said, "Oh no." Now I think he talked to Lou Holtz. No, I read that somewhere else. Go somewhere else.
Man, y'all heard it here first. Breaking news. That's why we shifted. We was on our top 5.
Sorry, audience. I apologize.
Yeah, it's all right.
My fandom. I'm sorry.
It's breaking news. When you see the look, we've had moments like that where stuff has happened, and we've had to shift, and we just had to shift. The breaking news out of Twitter, out of SI.com, Bleacher Report, if you got the app, it's still so fresh. It's still not up on ESPN. But Brian Kelly is headed to LSU. He will be the next football coach for the LSU Tigers, Death Valley, the places where As Les Miles said, a place where records come to die. Will Smith says, I think Brian Kelly was capped.
I agree with that.
I don't see him getting to CFP while there. However, he will find out that LSU and SEC is way different than Notre Dame. And he will be on a short leash there. Now, I bet he probably will get a mega deal. He'll get a mega deal. That's the only way you bring him away from Notre Dame is he got a mega deal. So I agree. He's gonna learn quickly what the SEC is all about. I don't think he'll be on a short leash. If you hear the deal that some of the rumors coming out of the deal that Lincoln Riley got, but they're a private university, so they don't have to release the details. They say USC bought both of this man's houses in Oklahoma and bought him a new house in California for like $4 million. And he got a record, some crazy deal, like $100 and something million to coach over the next like 10 years or something stupid. So they had to have gone crazy with Kelly to get him out of Notre Dame. I think they'll give him his due. He'll get at least 4 to 5 years to see what he got. You got to give him a chance to get his recruiting classes through. So that's at least 2 cycles. So, and plus, how many of these Notre Dame kids are going to decommit and head to LSU?
Let me say this. I believe you're going to see a lot of kids decommit from Notre Dame. You know, one of the best in Ohio, the best Mentor Ohio, they have one of the top rated DNs in the country.
Uh-huh.
He'll be a senior next year. Pretty good I think he's 4 or 5 star. He had committed to Notre Dame over Ohio State.
Hold on a second. What are you doing? Open the door. I'm on live right now. Goodness.
Family show, baby.
It's a family show. I couldn't even mute it. The door just creeping. And she coming in here to get some, get some baseball bats. Yeah, we'll have to see. So we got to see what's the defecting, the talent that heads down south, just like the talent that's heading out to Southern Cal. Bro, Lincoln Riley had like the number 1 quarterback, number 1. He had like all these 5 stars coming to Oklahoma, and they all decommitted yesterday. So we're gonna see what it is. So let's real quick, man. Let me just throw this last comment out there, Will. I mean, it's USC. The alumni boosters have very deep pockets, 100%. Our top 5. I'm gonna rattle them off, man. Perry, you tell me if you agree or give me yours.
Okay.
Top 5, here we go. Tampa Bay at 5, Kansas City at 4, New England at 3, Arizona at 2, Green Bay at 1.
Who you have at 3 again?
Tampa Bay at 5, Kansas City at 4, New England at 3, Arizona at 2, Green Bay at number 1.
Gotcha.
That's our top 5. Both me and Dre agree this week. Green Bay,
Tampa Bay, Kansas City, New England, Arizona, Green Bay.
Yep. Green Bay at the top. Green Bay gets a big win over the Rams. Arizona still 5 percentage points to number 1. You don't drop people. We don't tend to drop people on bye weeks. And then you got New England coming in, newcomer to the top 5, but you gotta respect it.
Yeah,
it's happening. We both said last week if they get us they give you one more win, which they did over those vaunted Tennessee Titans that y'all love to rant and rave about. And then you got Kansas City and you got Tampa Bay, Kansas City and Tampa Bay back in that top 5, and they're dangerous. Both teams are dangerous. What say you, sir?
I got my first 3 is the same as you, Andres.
Okay.
I believe that Green Bay is the best team in football, and I am going to echo one of the commentators. I don't know if it was Troy Aikman during their game yesterday. I cannot remember who stated it, but I'm going to echo it and say I do not believe they played their best game.
I agree.
I am taking it from him. I'm copying everybody. I heard him somebody stated it. I believe they haven't played their best game. Heck,
I would piggyback on that. They also aren't 100% healthy.
No. And they lost that
100% healthy. Last week? Scary.
He lost that game in Minnesota.
Yep.
But I think Green Bay's the best team in football. I got Arizona too. Still not the biggest believer in Arizona, but I got to give them their props. I think New England is, oh my God. I think they're 3. I think that you cannot take for granted. Like, let me say this as a Bronco fan, I can't stand Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
I think that he's the worst thing that ever happened to Colorado. Because he ran out. I think Jay Cutler would have been better. I'm just let's say in Denver, but I think you have you have one of the best in modern times. Josh McDaniels is one of the best offensive coordinators right now at this time. Bill Belichick, arguably the greatest, some people, the greatest head coach. Some people will argue that because they don't have TV, but the greatest head coach of all time. And you have a quarterback who listens, who understands. You have a solid defense. And if you give them at least a game or two at home in the playoffs, if you can give them that. So I had to put them at 3. My last 2 was different. I'm not a believer in Kansas City still yet. I first of all, Patrick Mahomes is my fantasy quarterback. So the week that I bench him, he throws 5 touchdowns. The week that I put him back in, he don't play with. He's the reason I lose.
Fantasy bias alert.
Yeah, I'm a fantasy. So yes, I got Baltimore at 4, and I got Buffalo at 5. Here's my thing on Buffalo. I'm holding on, but didn't like.
You are, because I tried to. I tried to hold on. I had to let him go.
I'm holding on because I know last year just seemed so easy, much easier for them. I know they played the Saints, who are not at full strength, but I still believe for some reason in Buffalo as my top. I think that I think in the playoffs, I think they can turn. I think they can beat Baltimore. I think they can beat Tennessee. I think they can beat those teams come January for some odd reason. I think Josh Allen, even though he's threw some picks, I think they got to start running the ball a little bit more, the best that they can. But they still got Diggs. You still got Emmanuel Sanders. So I script them back up in my top 5, and that's mine. I like Baltimore because with everything going on with Baltimore, you're still the number 1 seed in the AFC.
And they still find ways to win, man.
They find Elmore had 4. I call him Elmore. Elmore had 4 interceptions yesterday, but yet and still he can find a way. I don't care. Listen, he's not your prototypical, but I'm going to be in his apologies. He going to find and maybe blame some of that on the Browns not being able to capitalize because another good team would have stumped on that. But to still be the number 1 seed with probably the most, I think, with a lot of people on their IR, that says a lot about your organization. So I had to put him in there. So I got Baltimore 4 and Buffalo to 5 to round out my top 5.
All right. Y'all heard it, man. Y'all heard it here. We appreciate everybody joining us. We told you we was going to give it to you straight right quick. We appreciate everybody joining us in the live feed tonight, man. Great show. Appreciate y'all holding it down with me. Again, man, send out prayers, man, to Dre and family, man, to the Douglas family, bro. We definitely wish you the best. And he'll be back hopefully next week, but we'll see. But appreciate everybody joining us. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at the Academy Sports Show. You can follow us on Facebook, Joel Williams. You can follow us on Instagram. You see my Instagram at JWill02. You see Dre's Instagram at Dre_on there. Next week when we come back, probably try to get that the meme back. Try to get that trivia back. Where I got my tie tied up again. Try to get it back next week. But really, most of all, man, much love to everybody. And shout out to Deuces Dad 11 for jumping in tonight, holding it down during the Michigan segment. And then, of course, my boy. Y'all know this is my best man for my wedding, man. From the cradle to the grave, Doc.
Right, 14 days apart, baby.
Yes,
all day,
sir.
man. Appreciate you,
man,
bro.
Perry, man. Appreciate you jumping in tonight. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of Perry, Deuces Dad 11, and most of all, my boy Dre _ I dodged a bullet tonight, DC. I hear you. Make sure you're ready to go next week. I'm going to come ready. I'm going to come ready to go. I don't know I'll be ready for it because I'll never be knowing what the dang question is, but we'll see. But on behalf of myself, man, and on behalf of Academy Sports Show, man, y'all have a great weekend. Hopefully next Monday we are talking about, I am at least, a Big Ten champion Michigan Wolverines team.
Should be.
And it should be a CFP for the ages, and we should have something to look forward to come January. On that note, good night, everybody.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks, brother. Take care, man.
Yes, sir.